Good morning and welcome back to the Dadnarok After Show. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
And we are back once again to discuss the latest and greatest in TV and streaming. Currently, we are covering Welcome to Wrexham and Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, as well as The Lord of the Rings of Power. All of these titles, such a mouthful.
I was going to say, the last two are seriously long titles.
Every time I gotta be honest, the Lord of the Rings show, the title really bothers me because it's like the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. Like there's so many repeats of words there. They could have called it something different.
Or just, it's not necessary to say Lord of the Rings. They could have been just the Rings of Power.
Right. But the same thing with the Game of Thrones. Like it's like branding. You know what I
I was
mean?
going to say, do they need the recognizable IP to throw in front of the title?
Yeah, the marketing people, they need that until these shows fully establish themselves as their own thing. But anyway, that's what we're discussing here today. If you joined us last night, we went live to discuss the trailers that dropped around D23, the Disney Expo convention that they had here in LA. Yeah, yeah. Be sure to join us. Yeah, go take a look at that video if you haven't already. The cool trailers, but a little bit underwhelming. But anyway, are you ready to discuss our week?
I'm ready. And guys, if you're here watching us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment live along with us with the show. If there's something that we missed or something you picked up on, let us know and we'll bring it up here while we talk about it. So let's go ahead and just roll right into it.
You have some news for us? Is it good news?
It is. After many months of trying and frustration, I'd like to congratulate you. You are now the proud owners of the racecourse ground.
Whoa!
Yes! Oh my
Come
God!
on! There we go.
Wrexham AFC owns the racecourse ground, and you've made it possible. And keeping true to your words in the mission statement. So, congratulations.
Welcome to Wrexham. Well, dude, it flabbergasted me that the club did not own the land that the race course. Yeah, I broke out. I dropped the club.
Yeah,
that the actual race course sat on.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, they went into we've got 2 episodes here. We got episode 5, which is titled Fearless, and then episode 6, which is Hamilton. And episode 6 goes into a lot of that as far as like the ownership of the place. This is like it's been their play. It's the oldest football grounds in at least Europe, I guess, right?
Yeah,
But maybe
I think
the world
stadium in the world. It's the oldest one that is in use in the world. I think there's other older ones that are just like historic.
Yeah,
but as of being used, it's the oldest.
And they really there wasn't a lot of shots previous to this, but they really did focus on kind of the disrepair on some of the portions of this.
That stadium was falling to pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't much usage, in that whole place. And I couldn't believe how the prior owner, I guess his name was Hamilton.
Yeah.
Basically was just trying to destroy the club. It's like, I want it seemed like they gave us the impression that he wanted the land to build condos on. So he had to get rid of the team to do so.
Yeah, it's the way I like how they went back to the old school TV set like we have on the lower right hand side to play some footage from 2004. I guess this is when a lot of this went down, when that previous owner was their goal basically was just to kind of destroy the football club so they could bulldoze the stadium and change it up, sell it to something different. There was money being exchanged and the entire town pretty much. The guy had an entire town out to get him.
Yeah, and they marched on his house.
Yeah.
That was something. I love seeing fans, supporters like galvanized like that.
Yeah.
And going as one goal and going towards, the person's like, this isn't cool. This isn't happening.
And the guy had the goal
very often.
No, you don't. And the guy actually had the goal to go into the crowd, and I don't know what his goal is. They assumed that maybe he was out there to try to get punched or something, so he could. I don't know.
I tend to believe him. No, I think that's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because if he did that, he would have been justified doing, taking further steps to pull the team away or sell the team or do whatever.
He knew what kind of response he would get by doing something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those crazy things too, because I always kind of relate it back to the club I enjoyed, the Crew. The Crew was an original team to the MLS in '96. Now we don't have the history that
Yeah.
Wrexham has, not even remotely close.
Right.
But the owner wanted to then move this historic team in MLS to Austin, Texas. The supporters rallied and said, "No."
Yeah.
They basically similar to what the supporters over in Wrexham did. We didn't buy the club. That didn't happen.
Right.
But they rallied enough to get the attention of a local American football team, the Cleveland Browns, to actually pony up the money, buy the team, and save the club.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's like
awesome.
I can relate to what they did.
So the story of that episode is basically just Ryan. We got a little bit more of Ryan and Rob. We didn't see them much in episode 5, but we did see him in episode 6. And Ryan and Rob were basically just playing the waiting game. Rob described it as Kafka-esque, just having to wait on the bureaucracy and the red
Rob's
tape.
got no patience. It's funny
No,
to see the lack of patience he has.
and for you all like watching us overseas, this is a pretty good representation of a, typical Canadian and a typical American. Ryan's a good Canadian kid, and he smiles and patient. And he smooth things over, while Rob is all Philadelphia and just wants it
Oh
now,
yeah,
man.
he's Philadelphia through and through. He's like he has no patience. He wants it now. He wants this
Yeah,
done. And luckily he put the thing that I've noticed that Rob and Ryan have done is they've put people in charge that can take care of things
yeah,
properly. Because if
right.
it was just Rob and Ryan, I think this would have been dumpster fire. Because Rob would have been
Well,
trying to do things like crazy.
yeah, they would have been just, like, clueless to the whole process. I mean, you
Yeah.
need somebody to lean on to really know and who has been there before, but at the same time, like, I like how Rob and Ryan work together. They seem to be good partners in that way. They fill gaps, right? Like, the
Kind of a yin
one
and yang type setup.
kind of a yin and yang situation, right? So, that was good to see. The first, episode of this week, episode 5, it really focused on, some more of the fans, which I loved. That's what the great
Yes.
thing about this show, dude, is, like, it takes as much time discussing the club and the players and the background of the club as much as it does, like, the supporters and the fans and the people that live in Wrexham. And, boy, it was just great. There was the one gentleman that was going through chemo treatments, like, for colon
Yes.
cancer. He was in the band that made that song about Rob and Ryan buying the team, and it was kinda going viral there in Wrexham for a bit.
They were singing
Um,
it down the streets. He's like, "Oh my god, they're singing my song."
yeah. About the youth, the 2 boys, the kid that was, like, the huge, goalie supporter,
Yes,
and,
dude, I love that when he was standing outside the locker room and the goalie gave him and his friend one. They both got a glove.
yeah,
That is, that made that kid's day. That's a story he's gonna be able to tell his kids and
right,
grandkids.
yep,
So you can
and
see how much it just means to him.
they did go into, as far as the players, they really kind of focused in on, I think it was Rob Langton was the goalkeeper that they focused in on, that made that crucial save, in the second half of that one game,
Yes,
where they were down and it was enough for them to come back and tie, and, just
was it a penalty?
I
I
think
think it was
yeah, I
a
think it
I
was.
think it
I
was a
think it was.
penalty. And
Yeah,
I was trying to explain this to my wife. There is no more like excitement that can take place if you're the team, you're supporting the team that the goalie is. Because
right.
I'll say 90% of the time that's a goal.
Yeah,
Unless the player that's shooting completely craps the bed, that's a goal.
yeah.
When the goalie gets it, the explosion of those fans and then the discord of the fans that the guy was taking the shot of, it's so that I don't know. It's hard to explain if you're not a big football person.
It's crazy as far as the goalkeeper position, and they talk a little bit about this in the game itself. That position is so crucial because it's like you could perform, A plus excellent the entire time and make one mistake towards the
One
end of the game,
mistake.
and you've
Yep.
blown the whole thing. And it reminded me a little bit of like, in American football, the defense is an entire, side of the team. Like usually, you blame an entire defense as opposed to just kind of one player on the defense. And there's also there's the actual role of the kicker, which
Yeah.
a kicker can lose or win a game too, but a kicker isn't out there the entire time.
Yeah, no. But the whole world could come crashing down on a kicker. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a Chicago Bears fan, dude. You ever gonna forget the double doink?
Oh, the double doink? No, absolutely not. That's
So
ingrained
I
in my
mean,
brain
he's
forever now.
always gonna be remembered for the double doink,
Yeah.
and that
But
ruined the playoffs.
so the goalkeeper has all that stress and pressure, but like for an entire game.
And he may not get any like action for like 60 of the 90 minutes they play.
Right.
So he's got to stay focused
Oh
and just
yeah.
make sure that it just doesn't lapse because it's going to change on a dime.
Oh yeah, because a goalkeeper, the minute you're not focused, I mean, that could be it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
are, and
You
it
can,
just as far as the age stuff, I noticed too. Like the guy's only 32 years old, but like he's, it sounds like he's starting to with the concussions and stuff. Like it's
yeah.
starting to
When,
add
when he
up.
took that knee to the head and he just laid there, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
that's
just
rough.
living my life, the span of time between being 24 years old to 32 years old, like it feels like now as I'm 40, it's just like a blink of an eye. But it's like that's like your entire oeuvre as a sports star, and kind of when you're at your peak, you're most powerful, and to be on the tail end of that at 32, so young, it's just like it's harsh.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the supporters. Those
Yeah.
ladies sitting on the couch
Oh
with that
yeah.
older guy. Uh, I loved how when they were talking about it, they're like, I hope when they buy the team that they love it as much as we do.
Yeah.
And it's like it's those conversations that I was always the most curious about in this show. Like, what do the actual fans and supporters think of Rob and Ryan purchasing the team? And
Yeah.
we've got a lot of like response back from just from people that watch our YouTube show here. So it was overwhelmingly supportive, but there's going to be pockets of when people out there think, "Man, I hope they do this right." Because even in the first show, they're like, we could become the bad guys.
Right.
So I
Easily, and
just,
they told us a story of how a previous owner became the bad guy.
oh yeah, but the previous support, I think the previous owner, I think he
Seemed
set
like
out
he
to
kind
be the
of
bad
was
guy.
a bad
Yeah,
guy. Yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah.
wanted to have the ire and
Right.
and do everything wrong. But yeah, I mean,
So
like
far
you
so
said
good.
before. But yeah, dude, let's address this too. I mean, I'm kind of addressing the two episodes as kind of one episode.
Yeah.
But when I heard that they wanted to go ahead and renovate the race course, I'm thinking in American terms. I mean, we're going through right now with Soldier Field. They're talking about renovating or changing, or we're doing whatever to renovate Soldier Field as
Yeah.
football. And then there's also Lambeau. How do you renovate a stadium that's historic?
It costs a lot more money, right? Because it's like it gets to a point where it's just cheaper to just bulldoze it and build a new. Like because you have to, especially when a building is that old, like this bringing stuff up to code and like making sure structurally things are structurally sound. Like it reaches a point where like making sure the stuff that is there is acceptable versus just starting anew is like it starts to outweigh each other, and like yeah, that's tough. This is gonna be something I'm sure we'll probably see more of this, but like how does this end up? Because it's like you don't want to lose the historic like I remind myself the at Wrexham, like that entire brick wall, like the older gentleman, the one that was in his 90s, he
Yeah,
has his own brick there. Like you don't want to lose stuff like that, like so how do you keep the stuff there that means so much to the people there, but at the same time, like, bring it into the new age and like make sure it's safe and all the
yeah.
stuff that comes with a newer stadium.
Yeah, because if you want to bring along other players, you got to upgrade the facilities for the players as well. And
Yeah.
there's only X amount of room to do it. There's not a whole lot that they can wiggle with. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'd love to know what people over there think. I am
Yeah.
doing my best not to go online and look.
Right.
I think I'm going to cheat. I kind of want to know. I
Well,
mean, I don't think
especially
it's going
after
to.
this series is over, right? We don't have any more episodes to watch. I'm going to be following like in real time what's going on.
Full disclosure, I was wondering, like, how can we support outside of talking like this?
Yeah.
I went online. I went to the Wrexham AFC team shop.
Did you?
And I ordered myself their third jersey, the white one that they just put out. Now, it's the first time
Oh,
I've ever ordered anything that was not an American
yes.
currency. It was in pounds. I'm like, okay, so I'm connecting dots in my head. I'm like, okay, this jersey shouldn't cost any more than this.
Right,
And I
right.
looked it up, and I was like, $80.
There you
Ship it.
go.
Last Monday I ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. It almost cost me more to ship it than it was for the actual jersey.
That's hilarious. I didn't know you did that because I was actually going to bring that up this episode. Like, for the folks over in Wrexham, like drop a comment down below, like how we can actually get merch to where we make sure that that money goes directly to the club, because I don't want to like make sure that a ton of it goes to Nike or some third party, but like it's going to happen anyway. But at the same time, I want to make sure that Wrexham gets their cut.
Yeah,
So
I just searched out Wrexham AFC, and it gave me
yeah,
their actual
their team
team
shop, huh?
store, and I was looking that they have a baby blue third jersey. I was like,
Mm,
I want that one.
yeah,
Apparently, that's popular because that was gone.
right. Oh
There
shoot.
was that wasn't there. Then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go for the red one. The red one is classic.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the red one in the size I needed. I was like, okay, I'll
Oh,
white. You can never go wrong with white. So I
right.
got the white one. But funny side story with the green jersey. The green jersey, apparently, according to the supporters, they've always had. Now they changed it a little darker to the Philly green.
Yeah.
They were winning a game 2-0. And I guess that according to the information I was provided, it was raining so hard that the pitch got saturated and they stopped the game.
Yeah.
They picked it back up. They lost the game and they don't wear that green jersey anymore because they think it's bad luck.
Oh no.
So that Philly green, they got the curse of Philly.
Oh, great. So sorry about that, Wrexham. Yeah.
But yeah,
By
I
all
thought
means,
I'm
don't wear
going to
that
do a
color.
whole like opening unboxing video when
Oh,
I get
good.
the jersey as a YouTube short type setup so everyone can see it. I'm going to put it on, show my support as best I can.
Well, stay tuned for that. If you're a fan of Wrexham AFC, be sure to keep eyes on the channel here. We love you guys. We love that you found us across the pond. And if you're interested in all this other pop culture stuff, then stay tuned. But yeah, that's it for this week as far as episode 5 and episode 6 of Welcome to Wrexham. Continuing the story of these great fans and the great club, and we love watching it every week.
Yeah, it's actually I want to shout out to Sean and Andy, two of our newer subscribers from Wrexham themselves. They've been dropping comments. That's kind of where I've been getting my information from. So first and foremost, is welcome and thank you for following us. Keep us up to date. If anything has changed, along with the storyline that we're seeing on TV, or if there has some great results, don't worry about spoiling like their success because we're
Yeah.
going to do it ourselves here at the end of next week. We're going to go ahead and we want to look further into it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if they have achieved something pretty big, for instance, you remember the guys that were talking in the house? There was like 6 of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were bad mouthing Mullins
Mullins.
because of the
Yeah.
money difference.
Right.
5 of those 6 guys aren't there anymore. There's only one guy that survived.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's an
that was a
important
cool
point.
little snippet.
And who have we seen more of, continuing the episodes? We saw more of Mullins and not those guys. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay, guys. Well, let me see here. We got a comment.
hey, the location that is most important, the derelict cop stands is priority, which will increase attendance. That's a big deal. As most
Yeah.
are sellouts, most are happy with the other stands being modernized one by one. Well, there you go. All right. Some little bit of Wrexham insight from somebody over there. Thanks so much for
Yeah, no, thanks for
Sydney
the
for letting us
like
know.
we were saying, I would have struggled as a fan. Like, I don't know how much I want them to change it. But what's
Yeah.
more okay? So here's a question: what's more important to the fan base over there, the stadium or the grounds?
Mm,
So could they, in theory, take the stadium down, keep pieces of it, go ahead and put it back in the new one as like a memorial to the old one? Like, for
right.
instance, that wall with the bricks and everything, and put a
Yeah.
section just to memorialize and say, this is the history, this is what's important to the city, but actually build up a modern stadium.
Right. Maybe we're putting more sentiment on the actual place than the folks that are there. Maybe not. But that's what it seems. The
yeah.
stuff is important, but it's like, how do you balance that? It's going to be a balancing act for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, like Sammy here, go ahead and drop a comment on us. We'll talk about it. Well, yeah, if it's after the show, we'll address it. We always love that interaction, but I think it's about time that we go ahead and roll into our next show here.
What do you believe, Viserys?
That I am forever doomed to anger one person in the pleasing of another.
Then I pose a simpler question. Is it better for the realm if the crab feeder thrives, or is vanquished?
House of Dragon, episode 3.
Is it better
this week?
If he thrives or is he vanquished? Which one would you
I
want?
know you were like, you kind of dismissed that earlier when you and I were talking, but it's like, here's the thing, like, Viserys has so much running through his head right now, like where even a simple decision is probably a lot harder than it should be. It's like, well, I can't help my brother because then I'm seen as weak. But like, are you really? Because you're the one coming in to save the day. You know what I mean? So it's like, right now your brother looks weak because he went over there with a big bad dragon and can't seem to put down the crab man
Not
himself.
just one dragon, but there's two.
Yeah.
They got two dragons and they can't beat this crab guy because they keep on going back into the hills where they can't do anything. So they're fighting like crabs. They're going into their shells.
So I agreed with Allison Hightower on this. Like, honestly, like it's just good for the realm entirely to get rid of this dude. So why
The
not just do it?
disdain in his eyes there, just by that simple question,
Yeah.
you seen it. It's like it's not that easy. When truly it is that easy.
It should be, right? But it's like ultimately there are all these other things that's kind of clouded the issue. And he ultimately does, but he sends 10 ships. That's probably not. I think
Did
that may be why part of the reason why Damon crumpled up that letter and just was like, forget him.
he started beating the hell out of that messenger.
Yeah, I killed
That
the
was funny.
messenger.
I was like, and really, Damon had very, very few lines in this whole episode,
Right.
and just his presence
Yeah.
says all that needs to be said. And I love how they were talking before, like, okay, Damon's not doing anything. Our guys are dying.
Mhm.
And like, well, how about we send Damon out there as bait? Now, I don't know if Damon was even present in the area for that conversation, but the fact that I think he was to the point where he didn't care if he lived or died.
No, he
He
was
was,
over it.
he didn't want his brother to get the glory for the fight that he's been fighting. So either he was
Right.
going to die and it was over and he wouldn't know of anything that happened after that, or he was going to go ahead and the battle was going to be won by his actions.
Yeah, which just another big W for Damon. That we're talking about kind of the end of the episode first, but it's like, how could you not like that scene where it's just him like kind of literally waving the white flag to surrender and drawing all the folks out of the cave, and then it got a little like OP, a little like some of that stuff. They were firing arrows at him like like crazy, but only like two got him towards the end there. Um, but yeah, he didn't even need to hop on his dragon to take care of business at the
He
end of
was
the day.
better not being on the dragon. He was
Yeah.
better being on foot because of the way that they were fighting.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, but as a whole, man, I mean, yeah, the ending was great. As a whole, what did you think of this episode, though?
Oh, it sounds to me like you didn't think it was as strong as the other two. I thought it was as strong as the other two.
I thought this was the weakest of the three.
Oh, okay.
I actually picked up my phone during this episode.
Oh no.
And that's my barometer. If I pick up my phone, it hasn't engaged me
Yeah.
as much as other ones. And the prior two had me hook, line, and sinker. This one here, I felt like it was a slog. I felt like those parts of it that the story could have been. This episode could have been 30 minutes. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, they did drag out a lot of this, the hunting, as far as getting an idea of kind of but we already kind of had an idea of where things stood, even though there was a time jump in this episode. I think it was only like a 3-year time jump.
Yeah,
So
about
they
3
did it.
years.
We were expecting a time jump and to maybe see the new actresses in those roles for Rhaenyra and Alicent, but it wasn't that far of a time jump. But it was enough to where, Alicent has already had one child and is pregnant with a second of Viserys's. It's a son, so that's
Yeah.
that's all he's ever wanted, and now it's from Alicent Hightower and not his previous wife who had passed. So now there's all this pressure, right, for him to just name the son as the heir as opposed to Rhaenyra. And Rhaenyra feels it. Not only is she kind of like a moody teenager or
She's
young
waiting
person at
for
this
it.
point, but yeah, she's waiting for that shoe to drop.
So I mean, I don't know. It wasn't as grand. Like I don't need to see a father daughter argument in Walmart. Essentially, I didn't need to see that.
I missed that. I missed that scene. Were they in Walmart?
The walking away, the riding away, I bought that high hook, line, and sinker. It's like, you know what? That's what
Yeah.
someone of that age would have done. Just get up and go. Don't ask anyone. Just leave.
Right.
And
There was
and I buy that as her character because she's done that before. She's gotten her dragon and just taken off.
there was a lot of splintering and a lot of signs for the future as far as like the stag, and then they say that they find the white stag, like it's going to be a sign as far as like this boy on his birthday is going to be should be the king. but it turns out it's not. It is a stag, but it's not the white stag. And the white stag that we do see, the symbol of like royalty, ends up finding its way to Rhaenyra, and she just lets it go. So it's like, what does that mean? A lot of symbolism, a lot of things of that nature, a lot of kind of you called it a slog, but it's kind of like I guess I viewed it as kind of slow moving storytelling, kind of laying the groundwork for future events.
Yeah.
And sometimes
It
you hit
wasn't
that.
a bad episode. It was just the weakest of the 3, if that's a
Yeah,
good way to put it.
that's fair. I think it was doing a lot of table setting because the first 2 episodes where we're like being introduced to this, to this
Well, we got
state
the
of King's Landing.
Lannisters this episode. I
Yeah,
mean, we got a lot of things that, we've seen in the past, we've heard in the past.
Lord Jason Lannister. I guess there's twins, both played
Yeah.
by Jefferson Hall.
So we got
But
another comment here from Semi. He says, one thing I've always liked about the Game of Thrones battle scenes are realistic to be brutality.
yeah,
The battle scene really disappointed me. It reminded me of a lame action film with one main army antic.
I think that is totally fair.
Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that at all.
Yeah, even though like I buy into like Damon is a badass, like I get it. Yeah, Damon's a badass. We already knew that, but like to have a scene where it was that over the top and reinforced, like, oh, look how much of a badass he is, like okay, like when
He got
it goes
beat
into the
in
point
the
of being
tournament. He got knocked off his
right.
horse and he had to submit or he would have died.
Yeah,
Let's put a little bit of this into context here. This is
yeah,
a real battle. He
right.
lost in a fake battle. I mean, that's
I know. Well, I guess it's just I don't know I don't know the rest of this book. There's a lot of people that read, Fire and Blood, the actual work that George R. R. Martin put out, and I don't know what the rest of the story is, what lies in wait for Damon as a character. So yeah, that's totally fair. As far as this scene, when it was happening, I'm like, okay, well, all right, well, he's being a little bit,
I
like a
suspended
superhero
enough
down there.
belief to enjoy the episode.
Yeah,
Because we watched Lord of the Rings and we've seen characters get hit with arrows and just keep going.
yeah.
Boromir for a while.
But that's, I don't know if there's much more to say. It was kind of the episode was kind of broken in half. There was a lot of the Viserys stuff in the front as far as what's going on with him. Rhaenyra and Alicent are split. They used to be best friends. Now they're definitely not.
Oh yeah, not
Um,
anymore. Well,
there's
when
all
she
this-
was like laying at the tree and she had that guy singing and she said, Your princess says stay. Your queen says leave.
Yeah.
She pulled rank on her.
Yeah, she did. And she does it in a polite way, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you got to know what you're doing there. You're just kind of pouring salt on the wound.
Was there any true symbolism you think when during the hunt they caught the regular like deer or whatever it was,
Yeah.
the stag, but when Rhaenyra was sitting with Sir Christopher, the white one came up. Do you think that's any symbolism going forward?
If we were to believe what they tell us in the show, that this white stag is like the ultimate symbol of like royalty and who should be a part of the kingdom, or whatever, it sounds like Rhaenyra is the one that should be moving forward. And Viserys tells her that there is a conversation between the two. It was not in Walmart, but it was in a castle room where he assures her that it's like, look, I know that you fear of not, being queen one day, but it's like, I made that promise to you and I intend to keep that promise. And that's still the plan. Now she takes that with a smile and she walks away, but like, I don't think she ultimately buys that. She knows there's so
and he
much
also was
pressure.
like, I'll let you're gonna marry. I'll let you choose who you're gonna marry.
Yeah, after a lot of back and forth, because initially that's not how he was. He kept kind of putting people on her and she was not about
But
it.
Allison is manipulating him without knowing he's being manipulated. You catching on to that?
Yeah,
When it came to the battle and at the stepping stones,
Yeah.
only reason he sent anybody was because of her.
Right.
She's gonna marry, let her pick. That whole conversation that happened between Viserys and Rhaenyra was because of her. If I'm referring to another show, she's turning the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I know it's interesting what's really going on behind the scenes with her influence on him and how it's taking place in 2 years.
Well, and then it's like, how much is that from her genuinely and her wishes, or how much is that's being put upon her from her father?
She's playing the game.
Oh, you think it's like she's taking her own initiative there?
I think she's playing the game. Originally, it was her dad.
Yeah.
Playing the game. Otto was playing the game to get her into the game.
Yeah.
Now that she's on the board and she has essentially the next king in
Right.
line, she is now playing the game.
Who do you think should be the king or queen going forward? As far as the rules of the land and how things work, what's your opinion there? What should
Man,
Viserys do?
I don't envy Viserys at all.
No,
I
he's in a hard
don't.
spot.
No,
I
because the
think
realm's
things
not going to take the Rhaenyra. They're not. It's just not going to happen.
it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Honestly, I think as much as it would hurt, I think Daemon. I think Daemon should be on the throne, and he's going to be brutal. He's going to straighten things out.
I have speculation. Now, I've heard things, but I don't know if it's true. And I know the history of the Targaryens, and they don't really care about incest. Incest is like keeping the bloodline strong. They're like,
Yeah.
whatever. They love it.
I can see Rhaenyra and Daemon
Yeah.
down the line kind of pairing up.
And I think
And
that
you
was
see
hinted at the first
Yes.
couple episodes.
When he gave her the dragon, the Valerian steel necklace?
Yeah, and they were
that
lit
all-
just
that
the
all
way they
felt
were lit in
creepy.
silhouette. Yeah. It was,
That all felt weird and creepy, and I'm like, are they hinting forward? Like we haven't talked about that. But like you said, the Targaryens have no issue keeping the blood. Daenerys and her brother.
Yeah, that was the plan, right? Yeah.
Yeah, those two were. I mean, they didn't lead on to it in the actual show, but those two were hooking up in the books.
Yeah.
So it's not outside of the Targaryen way. Real quick, I wanted to bring up Sean here. He commented. So thanks for the shout out. I'll let you guys know if anything interesting happens in Wrexham. If you're ever in UK and you're interested in watching a Wrexham, let us know. We'll get you tickets.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Dude, we've had invites for a pint.
I know. It's so great. I'm in the wrong hemisphere.
Yeah, we have to. I know what I got I got a brand new passport here recently. We got to find a way.
Yeah, we got to find a way to get over there. Same thing here. If you guys ever happen to be in the Midwest, I don't know why you would ever show up to Ohio or Kentucky here in the United States, but let us know. We'll do the same thing.
Yeah, we'll take you to you guys know I'm a big Columbus Crew fan.
Yeah,
take you to a game. Beers on us. The whole deal. So that would be awesome.
But yeah, as far that's kind of, I think we covered a lot of what happened on episode 3 here. It was a bit slower paced. I found it to be more table setting, but I think ultimately there's some big things to come. There's gonna be bigger splits.
In no way did it lose me. It
Yeah.
was just this episode here was just more of an episode 1. A lot of times these episodes are like setting up the tables for like episode 1 would be.
Mhm.
Episode 1 of the show was right in it.
Yeah, it really kind of led you in real strong. Yeah.
But let me see. Oh, here's another question here. Let me see. Do you guys know of Aegon Targaryen?
Aegon Targaryen in the show. The little child is Egg from Game of Thrones, the old guy who was at the wall with Jon Snow. Simi, it's interesting that you bring that up. I don't think it is. I thought it was originally, but I don't think it is because what I did out of curiosity, I actually pulled up a Targaryen family tree. And I was looking and was like, oh my gosh. And the Aemon Targaryen that was at the wall I think he's quite a bit further down on the family tree than the timeline that we're in right now. So I think there might be a generation or two that separates them, but that was a good catch. Yeah, that's the thought that I had. And God, trying to make sense of the Targaryen family tree, even though the people that made that thing, that it was all full of illustrations and names, and it was just confusing.
Well, I'm gonna let you play with that tree because I didn't catch it. I was like,
some roots, the way Targaryens work, some of the roots, they're a little twisty.
Okay, guys. Well, if you caught anything, if you liked anything that we didn't talk about, drop it in the comments. Like you see us now, we're interacting here with Simi and Sean live on the show. We'd love it if you guys will go ahead and join the conversation. If not, drop the comment below. We pride ourselves on responding to everything that is out there. But I think it's about time we roll into our next show here.
It speaks not only of a place, but a plan. A plan by which to create a realm of their own, where evil would not only endure, but thrive. A plan to be enacted in the event of Morgoth's defeat. By his successor.
Galadriel?
Matters are worse than I imagined.
Quick thoughts on Rings of Power.
I couldn't look away. me doing the clips here make me want to watch it again. Like I haven't
Yeah.
had a chance to rewatch it. This show has me hook, line, and sinker.
It's good. The only thing I got is like knowing the history and the backstory of where this ends up. This ends up with the War of the Ring, and it ends up in basically the prologue that we get Galadriel
Yes.
talking about in the Fellowship of the Ring. Elendil dying on the battlefield, Isildur picking up his sword, cutting off the ring from Sauron's finger, the shards of Narsil, all the stuff that leads into Fellowship, right? And that
Yeah.
story of the One Ring disappearing for ages. So we know it kind of like the Star Wars trilogy or the prequel trilogy, like we know where this ends up. And really, this show is all about the journey of Morgoth from the First Age and Sauron, his apprentice, kind of becoming his own big baddie and like being disappeared for a long time, and then finding him and him setting up Mordor, which is what we assume that they're talking about here.
Well,
Galadriel
yeah, the Southern
um,
lands will become Mordor. Yeah.
will become, yeah, with the fires of Mount Doom and all that stuff. And we actually see it in play here with these orcs tunneling and kind of creating the foundation of these dank, horrible lands. And we actually kind of see the kind of come about with the story of the elf here. But yeah, it was a big episode. But I guess my only concern is like because we know where the destination lies, can the journey be interesting enough to like keep us engaged?
Uh, I believe so. I think just the rise to power
Yeah,
of seeing Sauron actually get to that point. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize. I looked into it a little deeper. I didn't realize that he was second in command to Mordor,
Morgoth.
Morgoth, yes,
Yeah,
and how different they truly were. Morgoth was
hmm
all about chaos,
yeah,
and Sauron was more about control. Until the older he got, the more and more like darker he got. Then it was just wipe the world. I want it all for myself.
yeah.
So, I mean, I loved seeing the destinations. Like when we went ahead and we seen that the island of Numenor.
Right.
That was when they were sailing in. I was like, that's the Lord of the Rings I remember seeing on the screen. That is just it's awesome looking.
Yeah, that was cool because we've never seen Numenor, in live action before, and to see it in all its splendor and all its glory, we've only seen like bits and pieces and like kind of like ruins that kind of were in the same kind of formed by man, like the statues in
Yeah,
the
the two
Fellowship. They
kings.
they go through, yeah, the two kings that have their arms out like that. But yeah, to see it in all its glory, just like seeing Khazad-dûm last episode in all its glory and how
Yes.
awesome that was. I got the same vibes, just like the splendor of seeing just passing the streets and the statues and the foliage and the people. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome.
The one issue I will say I had with the episode is, are we repeating Lord of the Rings with the story of the king? I mean, we had Aragon, who was the king that didn't want to become the king.
Yeah.
And now we're also getting this other gentleman. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Albrand.
Uh, yeah, essentially is a king that doesn't want to be the king of the Southern Lands. He's trying to run away.
I think kind of, yeah. But I think it's gonna be turned on its head, honestly. I don't think Halbrand is gonna wind up being some great king like
You think
Aragorn.
is he going to join the dark?
I think this is not only a story of the rise of Sauron, but a rise of Sauron's people, right? If Sauron has this, we see like Sauron's like underlings in the Lord of
Ooh,
the
will
Rings
he
trilogy.
take one of the rings and become one of the
The Nazgul,
Nazgul?
yeah, there's the Nazgul, the Witch King, the one that destroys Gandalf's staff in Return of the King, the one that flies around. There's the Mouth of Sauron. There's all Sauron's underlings. They were once, like people. They were
Yeah.
men. So I think this guy might be grow to be the Witch King. I'm not sure of that, but it's possible. Yeah,
I like that idea. I
yeah.
like that. I like seeing I always say Sauron. Yeah.
Sauron. Oh,
Yeah.
who? Yeah, Sauron. Yeah.
Yeah, Sauron. Tolkien, you're messing with your people.
Well, Saruman, you don't have to worry about because he's not even here yet,
But
unless the
I'm gonna
stranger Sauron. But
transpose the names. It's just gonna happen.
yeah,
Sorry, guys. But seeing his army grow, that's cool. I
yeah,
mean, there's so many things about this that I really enjoy. Uh,
yeah,
I want to see Mount Doom. I want to see all of that become what we know it is.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think? I mean, knowing what we're knowing and seeing, what do you think about the Harfoots? I mean, I feel like it's kind of a side story, like even a C plot.
Yes. I think that's fair. Yeah, this episode in particular too, not a lot happened, honest. There was not a lot of growth and progression here in the story. Basically, which is funny to say because it's like there was a big deal in that now the rest of the Harfoot clan knows about the stranger. But the consequences of that really didn't seem to be very but big
There was no
consequences.
consequences. They,
It
they
was
should have
just
been
like
thrown off the path.
yeah, but they were kept on. They're just in the back. But now that the stranger can kind of help them keep up with the rest, then I don't know if there's really consequences there. Um,
Let's. I know Gandalf doesn't show up yet. He doesn't show up to to the third age, I think it is.
uh, uh, pr- that's the way it should be. But yeah, it's a little. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm thinking more and more it's him. And the reason my thinking behind that and the reasoning behind that is he has a special relationship with the hobbits, which I know the hobbits aren't the Harfoots, but the Harfoots are basically the descent, they turn into the hobbits later in the storyline, later ages wise.
Yeah,
Do you think that love for the hobbits is from they're saying is from like this point? They showed him love and compassion at this point that I know they're twisting the story a little bit, but a name to go along with Sauron could be big.
that's what I thought last week, and during the premiere, of the first 2 episodes, I thought that maybe that's what they were leaning into. But now I think that's probably a red herring, honestly, because there's one moment. Well, the 2 moments actually, when it comes to the stranger. Earlier in that episode, Galadriel talks about how the flames in that one of Sauron's temples there up north, where it's really cold and windy. She went in there, and the flames no longer became hot. Like the heat was lost from the flames because the place is so evil, right?
Yeah.
When the stranger crashes down in that meteor, Nori falls into that pit, and she says that it's not hot. Like, why wouldn't it be hot? The
Oh,
show is telling us that when something is super evil,
the
then
flames don't burn you.
the flames don't
The
burn.
flames are
So,
cold.
and that's what happened, right? And then later, when he's trying to show them the constellation with the fireflies, he does the same kind of thing that Gandalf does with the moth. But then the fireflies drop dead. It's like, why? What happened there? Like, okay, there's just enough to where they're telling us that maybe this guy isn't who we assume he is.
That's
um,
interesting. Yeah, because yeah, no, I didn't catch the fire is cold thing
yeah,
reference between those two different scenes.
right,
Yeah, he could be on the opposite. Yeah, he could be on the opposite side of the game board here and
right.
just not know it yet.
And yeah, he could be one of the blue wizards, which we've never run into. They've only been talked about in the books, just as people that existed at some point. But yeah, that's one of the lingering questions of the show. And some people are annoyed. There's a lot of Tolkien enthusiasts that are annoyed by it. I like it. Give me some mystery. I love it because, like I said, we already kind of know where this is going.
Yeah,
So you introduce some mystery here within the journey, then I'm all for it. Keeps my interest.
yeah, exactly. This is an adaptation of a history book.
Right.
This isn't a book. This is nothing that's just an appendix of what happened prior to what we know.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
you have to find a way to make it work for whatever it is.
And we're so attached, like, and I get it. Look, Chris and I are huge Star Wars folks. And there's a lot of times they release Star Wars stuff that we're not huge fans of, and there's other times that release Star Wars stuff that we're huge fans of, right? So you kind of take what you can. Just the fact that we're getting a huge Tolkien inspired show that looks the way it does, that looks
Yeah.
like this. Let's just like relax and be thankful that,
It
this is so
feels
cool.
Tolkien. It feels big. It feels like
Yeah,
we're on a grand adventure. The
right.
same with the House of Dragon. It feels the part. We're getting great content. We just got to sit back and enjoy it. Don't over critique it. Just enjoy it.
This show has moments when we're exploring Khazad-dûm or we're exploring Numenor for the first time, or even that shot. There was a few shots of Galadriel just riding the horse and her joy at the freedom of riding the horse and everything slowed down in slow motion. It looked like I was watching one of those 4K HDR like videos that you show to like show how good a TV is.
Yeah, to calibrate your television.
Yeah, like it looked like one of those things where it's just like looks like amazing. Like the horse would plop a tooth down in slow motion, the sand would pop up, and I was like, man, this
You know
is
what I'm enjoying?
crazy.
I'm enjoying shots that are done on location.
Yes,
Where
yes,
we can really truly appreciate shots that are on location. Now you can
right.
tell in both the two shows we've talked about, there are spots where they have to add visual effects.
Yeah,
But there's other things that you can do physical things. Like I'm noticing with the Lord of the Rings here that there's models. You can clearly tell there's models of when they're flying over the city or something like that, where you can
yeah,
actually see a little bit of a difference, but it's not enough to it's nothing uncanny. It's not taking you out.
right.
So it just those physical effects are awesome.
I enjoyed that we were introduced to. I'll go ahead with Simi's comment here.
And so I think there are three breeds of hobbits: Harfoots, I'm gonna say that wrong, Stores,
Doors,
and you
Falahides.
go for that one.
Falahides, and Frodo was a Harfoot. Yeah, I think the way I understand it, Simi, is that they're each three of these branches of like these pre-hobbits each had their own kind of like variations and like features, right? And I think the Harfoots were the ones that were barefoot all the time, that were all about nature and stuff. And the three of them and the characteristics of the three eventually kind of came together to what we know as hobbits, like with their hobbit holes and they're always barefoot, and how we know them as Frodo, and Sam, and of course Bilbo. And but yeah, right on. Like these, there are people out there that are just critiquing like, oh, Harfoots and blah blah blah. But it's like, I think their main complaint is that hobbits weren't known to exist until the Third Age, but they clearly came from somewhere. I think the show is telling us that these people that eventually become the hobbits were around, but they were in hiding all the time.
And
Like
they're
they
not what
weren't.
we knew as hobbits.
Yeah, and they weren't part of the history books. Like they weren't, carrying the One Ring to Mount Doom. They were like keeping to their own, traveling, trying to find a place in the world, and really staying out of sight. And I
Yeah,
think that's totally fine and totally fair. Like it honestly, this world wouldn't feel the same without little people, like the little folk.
yeah.
Because that's what makes
This
Tolkien so exceptional is the story of the hobbits. And it's like that scene at the end of the Return of the King where Aragorn walks up to the four hobbits and he's like, "My friends, you bow to
you
no
bow to
one."
no one. Yeah.
That's like that gets me every time.
Yeah, he was getting ready to bow. They were getting ready to bow. And when
Yeah.
he said that, then everybody bowed to them when they were just standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it's
bigger
like,
than the story.
so I think it's important that you have a hobbit-like set of characters in the show, or else it wouldn't feel as good or as Tolkien, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I think as Tolkien's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But
Um,
what okay, let's just do this overall. So we are what, 3 episodes into this now. What is
mhm.
your general feeling?
I couldn't wait to watch it. Honestly, like football started Thursday night, right? But I wasn't checking in on the Bills game. I was checking in on, hey, when's the new episode of Lord of the Rings
I
pop out?
kept on
Like,
hearing it was releasing on Thursday, but I couldn't find it when it was. I mean, I got sidetracked with other things, and then I ran into issues on Friday. I'm like, "Oh, I got to shut this stuff off. I don't
yeah,
want to know anything." So
I
apparently, is it
think ended
10
up
o'clock
dropping at like
Eastern?
10 p.m. Eastern. I think that's when it dropped, which I thought it was going to be 7, so I was confused. But maybe they meant 7 Pacific time, 10
That's what
Eastern.
I kept on. That's what I tried to start to think. 7, yeah,
Yeah,
Pacific Standard Time, and then it would be 10 o'clock here, so on Eastern. So I just got to keep my eyes open for it. And it's bad, man. They got nerve. They're battling the NFL. I mean,
I
it's
know, and
do they?
it's on the same thing too, because Amazon Prime is going to be carrying the NFL Thursday night games too going forward. So
Oh wow,
that's a big
oh
deal.
wow, that's something.
Yeah,
But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It has lived up to everything that I wanted it to be.
yeah,
I loved the scene when this episode here, where Galadriel realized she was looking at that symbol wrong. It was actually a map.
right.
And then the music, I think people always look over the music. The music built so much tension
Yeah,
without nothing needing to be said.
yeah,
And I just it's just that whole deal. And then realizing that there is still an ex-king in Numenor who sympathizes with the elves. So she actually has another ally there that she didn't even know of. And we
yeah.
haven't met yet.
And Elendil and his son Isildur are going to be, of course, big characters moving forward. So to get introduced to them, that's a big deal. And Numenor, this place, I don't want to ruin anything for you. You may know already, but it's like Numenor as a place. There's going to be a big deal with that going forward too. So I'm glad we were introduced to it. I thought it was a cool introduction to these characters, and I'm still along for the ride, man. I can't wait till episode 4.
There we go, guys. So what did you think? Did you guys enjoy it? Let us know. I mean, we're coming to the end of the show here. So drop a comment below. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Join us every Friday morning. Friday morning. Wow.
No.
Sunday morning.
Don't put us on here
Sunday
more.
morning. Sunday morning at 10. Sometimes we got to push it to 10:30, but we're gonna be right in that window, regardless. But we have other content on the channel as well. Check out our other reviews, of the prior weeks of the Lord of the Rings, Power of the Rings, and everything else. We have a lot of content. We'd love you to go ahead and join the community and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we also do trailer reactions, and we do a what we call a Big Brother Rewind. Big Brother is a reality show here in the U.S., and we do a rewind of that every Friday night. There's only a couple weeks left of that, so you can join us for that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, be sure to subscribe and give the video a like too.
There we go. So until next time, we'll see you after the show.
See ya.